Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Monday. It is going to be a hot Monday, clear, currently 67, going to be high of around 90. And coming after the full moon, with the fish eating all night, they're probably going to be sleeping all day in this heat. Water levels are low. Um, it might be rough fishing today, and I'm kind of busy, so I probably won't get a chance to get out there today. And 8:17 is the moon set. That's in the AM, and 9:11 p.m. is the moon rise, and it's a waning gibbous, and it looks like um, as the moon becomes fuller, the when you would think it sets and rises almost turns opposite. It's weird. I'm still need another few months to pick up patterns, but now that we're after the full moon, it's setting at 8:17 a.m. when you think it would, right? In the morning set, because the sun rises in the morning, so the moon would set in the morning, and then the moon rise at 9:11 p.m. Right? When the sun sets, you would think the moon rises, but the moon doesn't work on the same cycle as the sun, and and I think those differences are why the people of old used the moon to track the months, because of the changes. And in those changes, I think there is patterns, so there's routine. Um, but it's not like the sun, the same thing every day. Um, I don't know. So we're in a study of Job, and we're in Job chapter 23. And so in here, Job, he replies to Eliphaz, and so he answers. And in 23, 2 through 7, we have like this courtroom analogy and picture. And so Job, he brings his complaint, right? Today also my complaint is bitter. My hand is heavy on account of my groaning. So he's longing for something, right? He's got something to say. It's bitter. Oh, that I knew where I might find him. So he's got something to say, and he wants to talk to God, and he's looking to find him. And he wants to plead his case. Verse 4, I would lay my case before him. I would know what he would answer me. He wants to get answers, but he also is ready for the answers. At least he thinks he is. And then, so in verse 6, would he contend with me in greatness of his power? No, he would pay attention to me. He's like, God's going to hear me. So, because he thinks when he gets to the courtroom, he should be exonerated. That's verse 7. There, an upright man could argue with him. There's only one type of person who can argue with God, and that's an upright one. But there's only one upright man, and that's Jesus, because it ain't none of us, right? And that's why we have Jesus, to intercede for us, because in our faith in him, he justifies us, right? Balances the scale, tips the scale of sin for us and our iniquity. Boom. That we that he stands before God in our place. He's the perfect sacrifice in our place. So only an upright person can argue with God. And he says, and I would be acquitted forever. Behold, I go forward, but he is not there, and backward, but I do not perceive him. On the left hand he is working, I do not behold him. He turns to the right hand, but I do not see him. And so he can't find him. Like, he knows he's there. He knows things are happening, but he can't find him. And I put the little note, like, that might be a good thing, right? It might be a good thing that we don't see God, because in seeing God, he's going to show us all our faults, right? We are going to see a replay of all our faults. And so for Job, maybe it's a good thing, since he thinks he's so innocent. I don't know. But he knows the way that I take, right? God knows the way. He knows our steps. He knows how we get to where we're going. And then when he has tried me, I shall come out as gold. See, Job is confident in that he is going to return after the trial, after the heat, after the fire, as gold. And there is a judgment for the believer, and it's the Bema seat judgment, and it's sometime after rapture. It's a heavenly judgment, and our works will be judged, and the foundation of which we're, um, uh, I think, because he says in John 14, there are many rooms, and where I go to prepare a place for you, right? And I think our judgments are what prepare our room for us, and our works of hay and stubble, like unfruitful, or are they of precious stones, silver and gold, and worth something? And so here, this is, I think, a foreshadowing of that Bema judgment, because I do believe Job is a believer. I shall come out as gold. He's confident. He's confident in his judgment. And here's the thing. He says, when I'm being tried, when he has tried me, well, it's happening right now for Job. He's being tried. Then he says, my foot has held fast. I have kept his way. I have not departed. This is verses 11 and 12. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my portion of food. And that should be all of us. I just preached kind of on this yesterday about the word of God, the prophecies of God, and how we need to have ears to hear, and the importance of when we hear his word to when he's speaking, to listen and let it penetrate our heart, right? Then he says in 13, but he's unchangeable. What he desires, that he does. God can do whatever he wants. And if he wants to do it, that he's going to do, right? That he is going to do. But for he will complete what he appoints for me, and me too, for you and me, right? So 15 through 17 here, it's the right attitude, right? Therefore, I am terrified at his presence. We should be, right? And when I consider I am in dread of him, there should be a healthy fear of the Lord. Okay, that fear of the Lord is what keeps us on the right side of his word. It's what keeps us in that humble position, relying on him, not ourselves or what we make, or any emotion or logic, or our phone, or at least all these other resources, and not the source, right? We should be terrified. God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Then he says, look in 17, yet I am not silenced because of darkness, nor because of thick darkness covers my face. See, he's silenced out of reverence for God, out of fear of the Lord, but not because of darkness, right? Not because of sin, not because of shame. Fear of the Lord is a good place to be, right? It prevents the darkness, right? It prevents the darkness. Now, chapter 24, he in 1 through 12, we do need God to judge some things that are unfair, right? Some move landmarks. They seize flocks. These are people in power stepping on people that don't have the same position or the ability to fight someone in that position, right? They drive away the donkey of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge, right? They step on the poor to elevate themselves, right? They take advantage from a powerful position. And 5 through 12 is this description of how the poor are living, right? Behold, like wild donkeys in the desert, the poor go out to their toil. Verse 6 is one that I marked. They gather their fodder in the field, and they glean the vineyard of the wicked man. Yeah, right? The poor people, they go through and they glean in the field of the wicked man. Not only do they have to work for them, but in order to survive, they have to eat off of them. It's a terrible place. And then the other one I marked is verse 9. There are those who snatch the fatherless child from the breast, and they take a pledge against the poor. Listen, there's still child slave trade even today, right? This stuff still happens. This stepping on the poor to elevate yourself from people in powerful positions still happens today. Now, he says all this happens, right? But where is God's judgments? Look at verse 1. Why are not times of judgment kept by the Almighty, and why do those who know Him never see His days? Right? Poor people tend to know God, right? The poor tend to search for God. The wealthy tend to search for the poor to elevate themselves because many times they put themselves in this position of being God themselves, right? Or this position of instead of needing God, needing these things of the world, this lust of the flesh, lust of the eyes, pride of life. Now, there are wealthy people in the kingdom, right? We need wealthy people in the kingdom. To whom much is given, much is required. See, and wealthy people that are kingdom people give a lot. They give a lot, and it's those donations from the wealthy people that help with big projects, right? And get a lot of things done. So it's the heart behind it, though, right? Do you want this wealth to elevate yourself, or do you want this wealth to elevate the kingdom? What is the heart behind it? Now, going into verses 13 through 17, see, those who rebel against the light live in darkness. Right? There are those who rebel against the light, that's verse 13, who are not acquainted with its ways and do not stay in its paths. Right? So, going back to the wealthy person, right? Are you acquainted with darkness? And are you against the light, or are you with it? The murderer rises before it is light, right? That he may kill the poor and needy in the night. He is like a thief. The adulterer also waits for twilight, saying, "No eye can see me." See, they thrive and live. Those wicked hearts thrive and live in the darkness. And he's using night as this comparison for darkness, for day and night, light and darkness. For deep darkness is morning to all of them. This is when they wake up, right? They feel alive in the darkness. So did I, right? There's I guess this is not the place for that story, but there is this alive feeling when you're walking in the wickedness that satiates your thirst or your lust for those things. There's something about it that wakes you up, that makes you feel alive. Or on the flip side, when you don't have access to it and you have to be the regular guy, you feel dead inside. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Verse 18, you say, "Swift are they on." Now, here's what they're talking about. This is the accusation against Job from his friends. You say, "Swift are they on the face of the waters. Their portion is cursed in the land. No treader turns toward their vineyards." Right? Drought and heat snatch away the snow waters. So does Sheol those who have sinned. Sheol being hell. It's deeper than that, but let's just use that for now. The womb forgets them. The worm finds them sweet. This is all the things that should be happening to these people that live in darkness. Yet God prolongs the life of the mighty by his power. They rise up when they despair of life. How is this fair? Right? How is this fair? And, it's why does God sustain their life, right? And then he says, he ends it, you know, in verse 25. If it is not so, who will prove me a liar and show that there is nothing in what I say? See, Job knows he's got a point. He does. He knows that there's some things that do need to be judged and that he has not seen this judgment, but yet he is going through this trial. He is going through this fire. And he is saying, I'm not a wicked person. I'm not driven by darkness. I'm driven by light, yet I'm having the reproof and the consequence of one who is living in the darkness of a dark heart. All right, you guys, have a great day. Yeah. Where's your heart today? Where's my heart today? Um, I'm going to be walking in the light today after this reading. So have a great day, guys.